let's take a look at the featured card widgets in Higher Logic. I've got 2 cards over 4 cards, and here's how it's set up in the admin. I've got a 2-column layout over 1 column, and the 1 column has the 4-card widget inside of it. So pretty basic setup. 2 over 1, but the 1 column has 4 cards specified. And this is all factory settings. Comes straight from Higher Logic. I haven't modified much yet, except to put in that grayish color where your images would go. And if you showed me this layout and I didn't know any better, I would say, hey, that looks pretty good, but you may want to use a grid system. It'll fix these alignment issues that we're seeing here. You can see nothing is aligned. And Higher Logic would turn to me and say, hey, yeah, no, we're using Bootstrap version 3 and 4, all on the same site. It's great. Okay, in modern times, if you were building a new website, you would select probably Bootstrap version 5 if you were building a site today. But Higher Logic was built with Bootstrap version 3. Now they're using version 4 on top of 3. And here's one of the reasons why you don't want to mix your Bootstrap version. So you can see I've outlined in red, that's the Bootstrap 3 columns. They're based on 15 pixels of padding, giving us a nice 30 pixel gap in between them. Now, if we look at the 4-column grid within the featured card that has 4 cards, we'll see it's not using Bootstrap 3 anymore. It is using Bootstrap 4, not the Bootstrap 4 grid. It's the Bootstrap 4 helper utilities to set up this 4-column grid. And it's based on 8 pixels. Actually, P2 stands for padding 2. So it's actually based on 4 pixels. P2 would be 4 times 2 equals 8 pixels. Now, as you can imagine, 8 pixels in the 4 and it's never going to equal out to our Bootstrap 3 of 15 pixels of padding. That's why we're so far off here. But okay, if you run into this, I'll show you how we can fix it real quick. I'm going to go to this row that's got the 4-column cards, and I'm going to make up a new class called Fix Grid. Fix Grid 1. I give it Fix Grid 1. You can call it whatever you want. But I have a feeling we're going to be fixing more grids, so I just gave it the number 1. Now, we have to restore that 15 pixels of padding, because keep in mind, every page in every single Higher Logic site is based on that 15 pixels of padding. So I'm just going to restore these factory defaults. And it's kind of hard to zero in on the element we want because they didn't give us a nice handy class called grid item or card item. So unfortunately, we have to use the HTML that Higher Logic gave us and come up with a very weird, obscure style like this. Make sure I'm zeroing in on the right item. So I gave it that red border. And that looks like a decent selector we've got. Now I'm going to give it 15 pixels of padding. Okay, now you can see in the middle, we're looking pretty good. That is aligned. But if you look on the edges, It's not aligned. This kind of goes back to how they implemented Bootstrap 3. They don't have the containers is in kind of the wrong place, so we always end up with kind of these awkward layouts. I'll show you how we can kind of restore how Bootstrap is supposed to work with the negative margin on the rows. Higher Logic canceled out the negative margin. It's very confusing, but I'll show you how we can fix this issue. So we're going to go to one of the many parent divs, and actually, so fix grid, I'm going to use that right now. Negative margin 15 on either side, so that evens us out. And I actually added it to the class called widget container. So fix grid 1 widget container. Now you can see I've actually restored those nice 15 pixel gaps between our columns, and you can do it too. I'll give you the CSS used in this video.